Hey everyone, Mac is back. We're going to continue with the Commander series, and today we're going to look at Jon Snow, the Night King, and Cersei. A few interesting commanders. They're all part of the expensive group, so if you're not spending a lot of money, which the majority of the people I think on this game are not, but I'll just go over these commanders just to kind of give you an idea. If you decide to push for one of the big commanders, that which one might be best. Obviously, they're not all awakened yet. I believe Daenerys is still one that's not. Looks like Sandor Clegane is not as well. So those two are not awakened. So we don't know their abilities, and once they are awakened, then we'll have a better idea. So let's get to it. So first, we're going to start with Jon Snow. And with Jon Snow, he, for rebel leaders, he's pretty much worthless for the rebel leaders. Even if you have him, to gold, he's still not going to be somebody you're going to want there in your front line, or for your, taking the damage, because he just doesn't do enough damage, and he's just not very good in general. When it comes to the army, he, like any of those big commanders, if you have him gold, they get 25% across the board, which is actually pretty good to be able to get those, to have those in there for your army. And then since he is awakened, he'll be definitely in every single formation that you possibly have. It doesn't matter if it's they're not infantry, because he's an infantry commander. Looking at his awakening skill, 15 seconds before the battle, all allied units at the front will receive 15% normal attack damage reduction, and other allied units' normal attacks will have a 20% chance to deal 150% critical damage. So that's really good. It says 15%, it says 15% seconds. I guess it's just 15 seconds before the battle. So his ability, which is what you would expect. You would expect to have a 4-star ability if you're going to push for that, to be really, really good. So that's pretty good in this game to be able to have that kind of reduction, because reduction obviously is very difficult to get in this game, even compared to, like, say, total attack. And let's go take a look at the training grounds. And here we are in the tavern, not the training grounds, like I had just previously said. And Jon Snow has all 3 of the PvP stats that you're going to want. He does take weapons, which are highly sought after, but if you have a chance to upgrade him, then all your weapons you want to go to him, just because he has 5 across the board here. That's 15 stats, 15 stars that you're going to be upgrading for each level that you get. So that's really, really good here in the tavern for him. And as for the training grounds, he's not very good at all. You're not going to want him, even, like, again, gold quality. So he's kind of limited about what he is good for. If you're PvP, he's excellent. Just like for any of these commanders that you're going to pay a high amount of money for, when it comes to fighting, they're going to be really good. That's why the whales have them all maxed out, because if they put them all together, they can be almost uninvincible, but they can beat just about anybody that they need to. So it's pretty good there. When we're talking about his skills, here he launches 2 attacks against targets in a cone area and deals 41 damage per attack. So that's okay. I mean, now you're talking, at least he can do multiple damage. I mean, doing about 9,000 damage at great qualities, it's pretty decent. So if you upgrade that, maybe that turns into 7, 8, 9,000, I guess, just for the single attack. So maybe he's doing the 15,000 or so damage. So that could actually be really, really good. There's no stun there, so that doesn't really help too much in that regard. Here's a 15% chance of recovering health. So he's doing after suffering a lethal hit. So he can, again, there you go, Watchers of the Wall. That's just relating to the game or the show where he came back to life. So this is a 15% chance is actually relatively low. So that's not going to proc quite often. The next one here adds 957 to defense and to attack every 7 seconds, and it'll last for 5 seconds. That's really not, I mean, that's okay, I guess. You get a little more attack, a little more defense for defending, and then some 150 for command. So his skills overall are kind of say middle of the line, I guess. In general, nothing too great. His skill here, the Lord Commander's Charge, is decent if you have it upgraded. If you don't, like I do, he's not really that great. And next we'll talk about the Night King. And here with the Night King, when it comes to rebel leaders, I haven't really tried him in any formation yet. I have him, I just got him to gray like probably most people did. And you can see he deals almost 9,000 damage to targets in a straight line and applies a bleed that will last for 30 seconds. So he'll do quite a bit of damage for these battles. I'm just not sure that he'll do enough damage. His base is 5,300 at gray quality, and there's something that's this fearless where where 2 allied commanders are dead, he can revive one of them for 50% with 57% health. Well, I mean I guess that could be decent. Probably not with rebel leaders though, because if you're killing that main commander, you have to kill another one before they revive it. So if you have like Enzo taking the damage, then another he dies and then someone else dies. There's too much time in there that's going by before Enzo possibly has that 50-50 chance of coming back. So which it would be really good, because he'd be at 57% health and already doing more damage with his less health. So that might be something. At the 8th second, he produces the heal effect for all enemies by 53%. So they're not really healing in the rebel leaders, so that's not really that good. And he has defense, so maybe he tanks, because you could get almost 10,000 there as well. When it comes to the army, he has that total attack at 35%. He has 35% of the attack reduction, and he also has a casualty rate of 10%. So if he's gold, he's going to be in every lineup that you have just from these stats here, because those are the high stats for even for the other really high paid commanders as well. So that would be really, really good. When it comes to his awakening ability, when any of the allied lineups suffer losses of more than 20%, and the Night King summons White Walkers into the lineup to participate in the battle, with numbers being 90% of troop loss for the lineup. At the same time, the lineup gains 20% attack. We don't know how this actually works quite yet, because nobody has it, even with all the packs that you could buy. There's a video out there of someone getting all the packs, as many as possible, and they are you can only get them to 1 star, gold and 1 star. So with that being said, this ability, we don't quite know what. I mean, it looks like it's just overpowering. So we'll see what happens when it comes out. I'm going to give the awakening skill a 5-star, just because there's different avenues we could go with this, and the most logical one is probably the lesser damage of the two, but still is massive damage. So let's go check out the tavern. So as you can see here in the tavern, there is no Night King. They did not add him. I think they added him initially, but they got rid of him. So you're not actually getting any stats for that. So it's not really worth just upgrading him to that 2-star for tavern stats. However, instead of the tavern stats, once you get to 2 stars, you get this ability here, which is when using the army active skill, reduces the enemy target lineup's attack by 20% for 10 seconds. That's quite significant. So now you're reducing, I mean, battles only last 40 seconds. So and then they usually get their skills off, if they're 4 stars for, every 10, well, this is for the actual enemy though target. So they're talking about the lineup itself. But still, if he's getting if you have him at 4 stars, this is almost a 20% reduction across the board for almost the entire battle. For the first 10 seconds, of course, it won't be, because it needs 10 seconds to proc. But then he gets it off, and then 10 more seconds goes by, and then he gets it off again, and he keeps getting it off for the rest of the battle. So at 3 stars, this is actually really good too. Or I'm sorry, 2 stars. So this is something that you'd want to upgrade as well. When it comes to the training grounds, using his skills and his abilities that he does have here, they seem really, really good. So I haven't really tried to put him in any of the lineups. I would think that having this unyielding ability, if he gets to proc that off 1 time, then this 30 seconds goes off. It's really good. The one thing that I did notice because I used him in the Weirwood, I think it was Weirwood, the Weirwood trials, is that is that this fearless ability is automatic. As long as you put him in your lineup, it happens even if he dies. So if someone else dies and he dies, there's a chance that he could actually come back to life himself, which is kind of interesting as well. And then having this reduce the heal effect for 53% for 60 seconds at the 8th second, so that's almost the entire battle. So as long as you get to 8 seconds, then they don't heal as much. Your enemy can't heal as much, so that kind of limits Simon in Sansa if you're trying to do, and anybody has a passive heal for themselves, it'll actually limit that as well. And he does have a decent amount of defense, so he can take some damage. The 26,000 here is actually not too bad either, so I'm going to actually try to implement him in there, even at great quality, and to kind of see if he's able to, just kind of watch some of the battles that I do and see if he's able to be, actually very, very useful in there. Because as a great quality, usually they're not as useful. And then talking about it, we already talked about his skills, and I think some of these skills are actually really good depending on the specific situation. So, like the first one I said is pretty good here. This, bringing a commander back to life is actually really good too, and then having this heal effect, and then a little bit of a passive defense there too. So actually pretty good overall. And the final commander in this trio is going to be Cersei. And with Cersei against rebel leaders, you're not going to use her. She does her base damage even at I have her gray, so her base damage at 3,800. I guess if you had her gold, you could maybe justify her against some opponents, just for maybe her base damage, maybe for her doing area attacks 4 times. If this is upgraded to say 5,000, maybe you're doing 20,000 here, then the wildfire could be really good. So I could see that happening, but I think in general you're not going to be using her for that. When it comes to the army, total health, defense, and attack again at 25%. So yes, you're going to use her if you have her up to gold status, quote quality at that point. Looking at her awakening ability, it says when your commanders use their active skills, so that'll be either 3 or 4 times in a battle, there will be a 20% chance of casting wildfire, dealing 20% damage to all enemies. The normal attacks of enemies hit by wildfire have a 20% chance of missing their targets. This status lasts 4 seconds. So if it happens, this could happen probably, let's say in 20% chance, and you say, you have all your commanders at 4 stars, which if you have her at Cersei at 4 stars, most likely you will. So you'll get this to probably proc off 1 time during your maybe 1 time during the battle, because you have a 20% chance. You're talking about your commanders though too, all your commanders. This is when your commander uses their active skills. So if you're using 5, so actually it should proc off through 4 times in a battle. I apologize. So it should be 4 times in a battle that should happen, where you do 20% damage to all the enemies. So that's a really good skill. So you're doing it to all enemies, which is pretty, like I said, pretty overpowering in that respect. So let's go to the tavern. In the tavern, she does take drink, which you would expect, because that's all she did in the season. And the final season was just have wine in her hand at all times. She does have leadership, so this is one of the, like I said, that kind of the coveted one nowadays is leadership. Even a combat rate is there. There are a lot that have combat rate and a lot less that have the leadership ability. So obviously, if you have her, you're going to have her upgraded no matter what. In the training grounds, she's pretty much useless. 22,000 health, so she's a bow commander, so she could be in the back line. But unless you have her gold, then she's not worth it at all, because her base damage is so low. Like I said, if you do have her gold, maybe this gets up to, if it got up to 10,000, I guess I could see that if you're putting that in there. If you need that damage. This skill here is actually really good if this is increased, because you're doing it 4 times. So like I said, if this gets to 5,000, just double that, then you're doing 20,000 with that, with that wildfire, which is really good. The Ruthless Cunning, let's see here, she gains an additional 105 strategy for 15 seconds at the beginning of the battle. Not really that good. Deals additional almost 4,000 damage to target every 7 seconds. That's not too bad. 7 seconds, I'd rather see that more like a 3 or 4. And then 210 strategy, which kind of gets her ability off a little bit more. So that's not too bad as well. So that's a decent amount. But overall, I guess her best ability is the wildfire, and the other ones are just kind of mediocre. So I'll have one more, I believe, of the Commander series left. There'll be 3 more that I'll have to do here, which will be the Daenerys, Sandor, and Littlefinger, 3 more of the big commanders. So until next time, Mac out.